2025-24, an ordinance of the City of Muncie annexing certain unimproved real property to the City of Muncie pursuant to the petition of the owners of the real property.
Is anyone here to talk on that tonight?
Sir, which,
He said, which one?
Is there anyone here to talk on that tonight? Annexation?
This for the property on the corner of Bethel and Morrison.
It is.
Okay, then that would be me. I'm sorry. I was sitting there going, So my name is Kathy and I'm from Ashton Land Surveyor. And we are here to talk on petitioning for a voluntary annexation. These two parcels of land, one is owned by an estate by, a trust by the name of Amy Etchinson. The other one is a Janine Souders. Their parcels of land, 218 feet, were annexed a few years ago into the City of Muncie. Now the west half of both of their parcels have not been annexed, and the goal is now to put them all in one piece so that when they are possibly divided or divided in the future, we won't have a landlocked parcel of land. We need them all in one taxing unit. So that's why I'm here tonight. So I apologize for not knowing it was me.
Okay. Anyone from the audience like to speak on this tonight? Anyone from the audience like to speak on this tonight? Okay, we'll close our public hearing and see you at 7. Thank you. our October 7th, 2024 meeting. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? And gentlemen, please take your hats off, please. And Sarah, can you lead us in that?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our invocation is given by Devin Mitchell, First Lady of Deliverance Temple.
Dear God, I pray today for Indiana, Delaware County, for the city of Muncie, and for those in power in this room. Let us be known as a city of peace, a city of hope, a city that welcomes strangers. I pray for this council meeting tonight. Give these council members wisdom, give them due diligence, give them guidance as they deliberate on the items set before them tonight. I pray that those who have things to come before the council tonight come with courage, come with grace, and come with respect. God, may every decision made here be righteous in the sight, for your benefit, for Muncie's benefit, and for your glory. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Our citizen recognition is by Rose Shelby, and next month will be William McIntosh.
Good evening. Good evening. Dorika Watson. Dorika Young Watson is an accomplished social worker, certified life coach, community advocate, and inspirational leader who has dedicated her life to empowering individuals and transforming communities. A native of Muncie, Indiana, Dorika's journey began as a non-traditional student at a local community college, where she laid the foundation for extensive education. Her passion for learning and personal growth propelled her to earn multiple degrees and professional certifications, enabling her to become a recognized speaker, trainer, coach on both local and national stages. Dorika is the Director of Community Engagement at Open Door Health Services, a role in which she leads effort to reduce healthcare disparities and provides holistic support to underserved population in East Central Indiana. She is also the owner of Own Your Change Coaching and Consulting. Sorry about that, Dorika. Through which she helps individuals tap into their potential, overcome challenges, and embrace personal and professional empowerment. Her approach is deeply rooted in mindfulness, community engagement, and empowerment. Also, with a particular focus on the needs of marginalized groups. Known for her relationship-first approach, Dorika believes in building meaningful connections with the people and communities she serves. Her personal motto, to not only take up space, but to create it for others, underscores her commitment to lifting others as she climbs. She emphasizes the importance of creating opportunities for people to see their value and actualize their potential, especially youth and families. Dorika's exceptional work has earned her numerous accolades, including the Ivy Tech Alumnus of the Year Award, the Dr. Luther King Jr. Dream Team Community Award, the NASW Region 5 Social Worker of the Year Award, and the Athena International Leadership Award. These honors reflect her significant contribution to social work, leadership, and community service. Her passion for service extends to many leadership roles, including serving as the co-chair of the Juneteenth Muncie, where she plays a pivotal role in celebrating the cultural heritage and achievements of the Black community. She is also the director of Representation Matters, a literacy advocacy initiative aimed to empowering youth of color by helping them see themselves in roles of success and leadership. Additionally, Dorika has served as the board president of Women in Business Unlimited, and continues to be an influential member of several youth and family-focused boards and communities in Delaware County. Derica's faith is a cornerstone of her life and work. A devoted member of the Church of the Living God, she draws upon her spiritual beliefs to guide her efforts in serving others with compassion and integrity. Her faith is reflected in the many roles she takes on, also aiming to uplift those around her and bring a sense of hope and possibility to every encounter. Above all, Derica is a devoted mother, grandmother, and wife. These roles are a source of constant inspiration for her, driving her to be the best version of herself daily. Her love for her family, combined with her commitment to creating positive change in her community, makes Derica Watson a true change agent and a beacon of leadership in Muncie and beyond. Ms. Derica Watson.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is humbling to listen to someone speak about you, and all of those words were not mine. So thank you, Ro, for making a girl feel real good on today. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And thank you to the council. I appreciate you all as well. The work that I do because I feel obligated to do. And so some people say, well, you aren't paid for that. And I've been paid in more ways than you could ever imagine. Someone has poured into me, so I'm obligated to pour into others. So I'm very grateful for this honor and this appreciation. And thank you all so much.
And next month is William McIntosh's turn. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Mason?
Here.
Ms. Selby?
Here.
McIntosh?
Sorry.
Here.
Mr. Green?
Here.
Ms. Powell?
Here.
Mr. Garrett? Ms. Nolan?
Here.
Mr. Basham?
Here.
Mr. Dishman?
Present. Okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes of September 9th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Garrett? Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Basham?
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gillian?
Yes.
Ms. Selby?
Yes.
Ms. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. President Dishman?
Yes.
8 yes.
Down there, Dan, our attorney's on Zoom also, him and Nora Powell. I don't think there's any board appointments to the commissions tonight. And we got committee reports, and I'd like to ask Del Basham to give us a little talk about the State Board of Accounts exit meeting that she was in the other day,
Well,
how it went, and if there's any problems or any things.
no, in fact, it was lengthy and it was in depth and we got high marks in every aspect of it. And so, it was good for the city of Muncie.
Well, none of the rest of the council knew anything about it, about the report on it. So I figured I'd ask you tonight to let us know.
Had I known that was coming, I would have been prepared for a report. I have volumes of information that they handed. I think several were invited but did not attend.
Okay. All righty. Okay, ordinance And I'll just the paper stick on here. Ordinance previously introduced. And
Mr. President.
thanks for that, Dale.
Mr. President,
Ordinance,
may I give?
Nora?
I just want to give a quick report. One last thing from the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee will meet one last time for the committee members themselves to clarify anything that was said in September. It's going to be October 16th at 6 p.m. at City Hall. It will be obviously open to the public. But again, it will just be a work session for us to clarify anything that was said that we need to fully understand, and to go over some things that department heads said in regards to being able to cut from their budgets. So we just want to clarify that information, but that's all. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And tell us again when that is.
October the 16th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at City Hall.
Wednesday.
I sent out an email.
Yep. Yes, I saw it.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's Wednesday night.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nora. Ordinances previously introduced, ordinance 16-24.
Ordinance 16-24, an ordinance for additional appropriations, Fire Department EMS.
Okay, is there anyone here to talk on this tonight?
Jason Chapin, Union President, Local 348. I do believe 1624 was voted on last meeting. I think it's on this month's agenda by accident.
Oh, that's it.
Thank you.
Ordinance 17, 24.
Last month.
Mhm.
Ordinance 17-24, an ordinance to amend the City of Muncie Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance from the R4 Residence Zone to the MHR Mobile Home Residence Zone for 701 and 703 through 711 West 15th Street, lots 1 and 2 in the John T. EASTBROOK'S First Edition, and the lot formerly addressed as 801 West 15th Street, Muncie, Indiana.
Is there a motion to,
So moved.
So moved.
is there a second?
Second.
Anyone wishing to speak on
That's Nora.
1724? Anyone from the council? Is anyone here that has this ordinance? I think they should be here to do that, so I'll make a motion to table it until we get them here to speak on it.
I second that.
Roll call, please. Is there a second on that? I'm sorry, is there a second?
Yeah, Rose
Okay.
seconds.
I second it.
Powell,
Yes.
Ms. Selby?
Yes.
Ms. Gillian?
Yes.
Mr. Garrett? Mr. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mr. Basham?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
President Richmond?
Yes.
8 yeses, 1 absent.
Ordinance 1824.
Ordinance 18-24, an ordinance to amend the City of Muncie Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance from the R4 Residence Zone to the BV Variety Business Zone for Lot 1 and the west half of Lot 9 in EC Anthony's First Edition to the City of Muncie, Indiana.
Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
I
So
so
moved.
move.
Or a second?
Second.
Is anyone wishing to speak on this tonight?
Good evening, board members. My name is Chris Badger with Badger Engineering, and we're located in Carmel, Indiana. This evening, we're trying to clean up a zoning where we're building a fellowship hall, and it will extend across the zoning line. And so to clean this up, we're asking for this rezone. And if there's any questions, I have some exhibits or anything else you'd like to know about it.
Is anyone from the council?
Yes. Could you describe the extent of your cleanup? What do you mean when you say, like for the public, when you say cleanup, what does that mean?
It means we have two zonings, and when the building spans two zonings, it can create an issue in the future or
Okay.
or that. And so if you know where Full Gospel
Mhm.
is,
Yeah.
they have parking lot out front and it has two zonings.
Okay,
And the fellowship hall would sit across here. And this is BV and this is R4.
thank you for
Thank you.
explaining that.
Anyone else from the council? Anybody from the audience?
I would just like to take a look at his map, if that's okay, real quick, before you guys vote on this. Where's this at? It just has,
High Street, 7th Street. So here's the existing fellowship. I mean, the church fellowship gospel. High Street, here's 6th and 7th. And it'd be right here. And it extends over into this parcel.
we're into that parking lot.
Well, that's really a grassy area, but this is mostly parking lot. Thank you. Not a problem.
Anyone else from the audience? Roll call, please.
Mr. Garrett, absent. Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Ms. Selby,
Yes,
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Ms. Powell,
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mr. Batson,
Yes.
Ms. Bowen,
Yes.
President Richmond,
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Ordinance 19-24.
Ordinance 19-24, an ordinance of the City of Muncie amending the traffic schedules set forth in Chapter 80 of the City of Muncie Code of Ordinances.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance
moved.
19-24?
Second.
Is there anyone here to speak on this tonight? Is there anyone here to speak on this tonight? I'll make a motion to table it until we get somebody here to,
I'll second that.
okay. Do I have a second?
There's already been a motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
I second it.
Ms. Powell,
No.
Ms. Selby,
Yes,
Ms. Millian,
Yes.
Mr. Garrett's absent. Mr. McIntosh,
No.
Mr. Basham,
No.
Mr. Mason,
No.
Mr. Green,
No.
President Dishman.
Yes.
Yes. 3 yeses, 5 yes.
So we don't have anybody here to talk on it. So do we have any of the council members that want to say anything? about
I will. Mr. President, I sponsored this ordinance. It's in my district. It lowers the speed limit around Westview School from 30 to 25 miles an hour. It will also ensure that speed limit signs are placed on both Riley Road and Gilbert Street. I think delaying this by tabling it another month will potentially cause issues for the school children who are walking to school in that area. And I respectfully request that we go ahead and act on this ordinance.
Well, Ms. Powell, you know how I am on people not showing up to talk on it, so.
I understand.
I have a comment.
Ms.
May I? I think we should this council should make it, like, because sometimes we table it if somebody doesn't show up and sometimes we don't. I think it should be just a standard procedures out of respect for all of our time and the people that come, the audience, that whenever there's something like this, if there's no representation, it should be tabled. But that's my,
Yeah, I don't know if we can legally do that.
We just
I guess,
we just
yes.
voted.
Yeah, we,
no, I'm not talking about this one in particular. I'm talking in the future.
Mr. Dishman, if I may, very briefly, there are some ordinances that don't necessarily have, representation from the public. It's not necessarily being, sponsored or requested. In this case, this was requested by Ms. Powell, and she has spoken on it. So
Okay,
I would also encourage you to move forward with a vote on this.
okay. One more. Mr. Dishman.
Just let Mr. Deegan talk.
Hi, Chris Deegan, Muncie Police. we didn't have any direct involvement in this, but I certainly would echo the opinions of probably moving forward on this just for safety of enforcement purposes. It doesn't hurt to have extra speed limit signs posted, especially throughout neighborhoods and where we have kids getting picked up at school bus stops. But just from the law enforcement side of things, I think that this would be helpful. Thanks.
Clarification to what I said. I understand what's going on now. So thank you, Ms. Powell, for sponsoring that. I agree with you. That's very important. What I would like to ask, let me reword what I'm trying to say. Unless it's sponsored by a council person here and who can speak on it and authored by that, any ordinance, or if somebody from the public or whoever's requesting that is not here to represent or answer questions, I think it's vital and important to table it till they're here. And I think if we do that a couple times, then people will understand that we're serious. We have questions. We need representation. So that is just my opinion. Thank you.
Mr. President, may I respond?
Go ahead, Ms. Powell.
I do understand your reasoning, Councilperson Selvey. However, I don't know why a representative from the neighborhood did not attend. I am the one that sponsored this. I am the one that researched this. And I feel like we shouldn't penalize the school children just because a neighborhood association member didn't attend.
I
agree.
May I call the question?
Okay, we're going to we have a motion to approve this.
I so move.
Okay, you have a second. Okay, roll call, please.
McIntosh.
Yes.
Mr. Basham.
Yes.
Mr. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Mason.
Yes.
Mr. Garrett's absent. Ms. Selby.
Yes.
Ms. Gullion.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Mr. Dishman.
Yes.
Yes, 8 yeses.
Okay. Ordinance 20-24.
Ordinance 20-24, an ordinance for additional appropriations, Muncie Police Department.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 20-24?
Move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion second. Anyone here wishing to speak on that? Mr. Deegan, you have the floor.
Hi, yes, Chris Deegan, Muncie Police Department. I know everybody's holding their breath like, oh, he's going to talk for like 35 minutes. Not tonight. I think I got everything out last time. I'm just up here to stand for any questions if anybody's got any.
Anybody from the council got any questions for Mr. Deegan? Anybody from the audience? Thank you, Mr. Deegan.
Thanks.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Garrett is absent. Mr. Mason.
Yes.
Ms. Selby.
Yes.
Mr. Green.
Yes.
Ms. Powell.
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh.
Yes.
Mr. Basham.
Yes.
Ms. Gullion.
Yes.
President Dishman.
Yes.
8 yeses.
Okay, ordinance 21-24.
Ordinance 21-24, an ordinance for appropriations and tax rates. Proposed Muncie public transportation budget.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 21-24?
May I? I mean, I believe that we need to wait on these, right? On these three budgets. Is that correct, council?
Yes, I believe that is the subject of a special meeting here, October 23rd, where final action will be taken on those.
Does that
So that's
pertain to Muncie Sanitary District?
Yes.
Yes.
All three. What was the time for that meeting?
5:30.
5:30.
Civil budget, whatever that is.
If 6 o'clock would be better, we can change that time, but that 5:30 is when the auditorium was available.
Be done with the budget.
They'll have to be done with the budget, so we're moving on. Ordinance 22-24.
These are new ordinances now. Ordinance 24-24, An ordinance amending Chapter 76, Abandoned Vehicles of the Muncie Code of Ordinances.
Is there a motion to introduce ordinance 2424?
You guys are supposed to go through 22 and 23 and get public comment. It says ordinance 23, you've not went through 22 or 23.
Council, can you explain why we did that?
I'm not sure where the public comment issue came from, but yeah, it was my understanding, if they're on the agenda and it says for public comment, then you should probably take public comment. I don't have the agenda right in front of me.
Right.
But final action will be taken on these on October 23rd.
Okay. Do we have anybody want to, do we have anybody from the audience wants to talk on 22, 24?
23,
22, 23, 24?
Yeah, Christopher Bilbrey. I just want to say that I watched the Finance Committee meetings that you guys held last week or the week before. If you guys are going to, do you know, will you guys be putting out a list of any cuts you're making before the meeting on the 23rd, or will we be able to have access to anything that you guys are looking at cutting? I have the budget that was presented by the administration, but as far as what you guys are working on, you basically just went through everything and talked to the department heads. So when you guys are working individually or whatever, making any cuts, will you guys present that? Will that be in a spreadsheet, or what's going to happen? When will we see that? Or will we not see that until the 23rd and then have just a very short time to be able to review it before talking about it? You understand what I'm saying? If you guys are going to take final action on the 23rd, if you're going to make any changes to that budget whatsoever, it would be helpful if the citizens could see or be aware of what you guys are looking or thinking about doing ahead of time. Normally, like the county, for example, works through those cuts live and on streamed meeting. It's several meetings throughout the process. So I'm just asking will we not know about what your cuts are until we get here on the 23rd and then just have a very short period to talk about, or what's going to happen with that?
Ms. Powell, can you answer that?
Unfortunately, I cannot make comment on these three ordinances.
Yeah, I'll chime in here. I believe October 16th is the next finance committee meeting. And I believe that the discussion regarding cuts will be discussed during that, but obviously no decisions have been made yet on anything related to the budget. But yeah, I think that'll be discussed during October 16th. And Ms. Powell was unable to speak on this because it is an appropriation and she's appearing remotely, in the state law regarding remote appearances, has certain items that are carved out of that. So that's why she was unable to answer that question. But I think October 16th Finance Committee meeting will be when the cuts, if there are any cuts, I don't even know if there are, but those will be discussed.
What time is that meeting on the 16th?
Is that 5:30 also right now? Is it 6?
Okay. So October 16th, the last finance meeting on the 16th is at 6 o'clock. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bilbrey. Anyone else? Moving on to new ordinances, 24-24.
24-24, an ordinance amending Chapter 76, Abandoned Vehicles of the Muncie Code of Ordinances.
Is there a motion to introduce ordinance 20-24-24? And a motion and a second. Mr. Deegan, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Chris Deegan, Muncie Police Department. This is just going to establish a local procedure for us within our Muncie Code of Ordinances to deal with abandoned and junk vehicles. Right now, we operate on the state on the state procedure, and we're allowed to have our own procedure locally here, so we can run it through our code enforcement division. So this is all it is just getting this onto the books for operating with a procedure for us for the code enforcement division.
Yeah, Mr. Deegan, you know, I have a problem with this, but I don't condone junk either.
Sure.
And like we talked in your office, you know, if somebody's got a car they're working on as a hobby, I don't want to see those cars touched. I mean, I can see if you got a tree growing up through them and they're just junk. Yeah, I can understand that because nobody wants to be around. But if somebody's trying to build a hobby car, I appreciate if you guys wouldn't touch them until you find out the whole story on it.
Yeah, our division does really good. So we have 3 full-time people assigned to that division. They do a really good job of making contact. That's part of the procedural process, is making initial contact with anybody that we may think we have a violation with. And then that allows them to build, you know, I guess their determination on what the next best steps are, whether that's, hey, this is a junk vehicle and we need to take steps X, Y, and Z, or this is a hobby car and we recognize that now that we've determined that, we can note that in the system. But this gives us the procedural enforcement arm that we need from the code enforcement process.
There's a lot of cars out there that needs to be dealt with. But somebody has a project car or something like that.
Sure.
I appreciate if you just work with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Mason.
Yeah, I did sponsor this ordinance, and it's pretty well spelled out. What's considered junk, and you know, if it's somebody that's in the service, that vehicle won't be touched. If it's on a car lot or, you know, anything of that nature, it's not just going to be a random, you know, snatch and grab. You know, it's pretty well detailed.
Yeah, that's certainly not the intent. The intent is just to provide us with a procedure to be able to carry through with the enforcement side of things if we need to.
I appreciate that.
Sure.
Okay. Anyone else from that? Okay. Let's give it-
Just, you say that's a little bit different than the state. You've tweaked it a bit. I mean, just basic, real basic. I mean, what are the differences that you've?
Well, I brought a member of the code enforcement division here, but it's much like the ordinance that was introduced from Ms. Powell, where the speed limit signs posted, I think, are now going to read 25 miles an hour, not 30 miles an hour is the state code. In order to operate procedurally in our code of ordinances, we have to vary slightly from what state code says. So it's going to be in terms of, and I'm sorry, I don't have it all here in front of me, but I can bring that next time for adoption if need be. It's going to have to do with towing times, fees, fines associated with stuff like that. It has to vary from what the state says.
Maybe just email it just to, you know,
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get that information for you.
Thanks.
I think what you're asking is, as far as the timeline, I think with the way that this has been amended, it kind of expedites the process a little quicker than what the state requires.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
but-
like to know the difference. Yeah,
Sure.
like how
Yeah.
much difference.
I bet a person could be on vacation, come back and their car will be gone.
Yeah, that's certainly not what we don't want.
Yeah.
But obviously every situation is going
And
to
it's
present.
happened before. Because
Yeah, sure.
I know when they first introduced this.
Those people will have to be. It's all spelled out.
Yeah.
You know, they have to be notified before.
But I can certainly provide that information at the next meeting.
Just be fair with everybody.
Sure.
That's all I ask.
I understand.
Anyone else got any questions for Mr.
President
Deaton?
Dishman, I do.
Yeah.
Currently, we're working under state code. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
And therefore, running under the state code, the funds for towing those vehicles then would go into state coffers, not the city coffers. The passing of this ordinance then would allow the city to collect these fees instead of going to the state. And is that correct?
Procedurally correct, yes.
Okay.
Anyone else? Anyone from the audience?
Yeah, I definitely would say, I don't know exactly what the code says, but if it's a little bit stricter than what currently is, that's great. I mean, we've got a car down the street from us that's on blocks, on the street, not in a garage, not on a driveway. It's literally on the street and it's cockeyed. It's kind of obstructing traffic. We've called about it multiple times. and it's still sitting there months later. So anything that can expedite expedite that is definitely important. By the way, and Jeremy Reese from Industry Neighborhood, I didn't mention that.
Sir, that's a different story if it's on the
No,
street.
it's not, really. I seen that vehicle and it's been reported.
Yeah.
It's on a jack,
Yeah.
which is against the law, I believe,
Yeah.
to be sitting on the street.
Yeah. And I've
jacking-
called about it twice myself, me and my wife, and it's still sitting there months
Yeah.
later. So
Yeah, I rode through there and seen that.
Yeah.
Called the next day.
Audie Barber, since we're opening a new ordinance on this, do we need to turn out the bid process for the towing service on that, or do we just use the city's police department's towing service?
I think they
Is-
got 2 in town, so I think.
Do they have 2 now? Okay, I was just curious if they gonna turn it out for bid on tow trucks coming and pick them cars up or not.
Whoever the city uses.
Thank you.
Belinda Munson, City Clerk. The abandoned vehicle fund, where does that money get collected and who does that get paid to? So like we collect the money, but the fund, does that go into general? Does that go into a police fund?
We've got, I don't know, I would have to verify where that goes. I'm not entirely sure because I don't know that are we collecting fees now?
I don't, we're not, because we're following the state, so nobody's enforcing it. So what you're wanting to do is to add more detail to the current.
Correct.
Okay, so anything that goes through code enforcement, the Violations Bureau is supposed to be part of, and the Violations Bureau is actually the city clerk's office. I wasn't consulted on it. Mr. Mason, I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to clean up junk cars, but Belinda Munson from former Munson Motors, where I was the vice president and ran the books. So one man's treasure is another one's trash. So you get a 1965 Corvette frame that needs a motor that's sitting in someone's backyard. According to this, it could, if it's valued less than $1,000, which is the opinion of the officer, may look like it's less than 1,000, but it actually might be a classic. So like who determines that value is a question for me, because I rent to a car guy and I know car guys and I have questions, and I wasn't consulted on any of this.
That's a good question.
I mean, I'm from a car family, so I mean, like just, and my office actually is Violations Bureau, which is state code. You should consult with me, and I have I didn't know this till I saw this today.
Okay. Let me
Okay.
have the opportunity to respond. Okay.
Mr. Deegan, that guy that had the car up on Jacks on the street, that's not on his property. It's on the city's property.
It's on the city's property,
So they
correct.
can have it removed anytime.
Right now, our procedure to enforce that would be under state code, correct? Yes. But that's a whole different process. As far as the opinion of the officer being $1,000, we see this in a couple of different applications across law enforcement. So I'll use a crash as an example. The crash threshold dollar amount has to be determined by the officer on scene on whether or not to complete a state crash report. So there's some discretionary aspects to that, like there is with a lot of things that we do in law enforcement. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that's always going to be the totality of the circumstance, but this is certainly, I can't speak to the fund that it's going to go in. I thought that was outlined in the ordinance. I'm not the one that put it together. I'm just here to speak on it. And I brought somebody from code enforcement with me, but I'm certain that we can have a meeting with the clerk's office and make a determination on best practices for that. I know this was put together by legal.
Right. But also, so there's a fund. So this money that's being collected goes into a vehicle fund, but it doesn't say who collects the money or where the money gets allotted to. So I have questions about that.
Is that not outlined under fees and flip to the next page? Fees and proceeds of sale.
Mhm. So it talks about towing fee under violation of no less than 75, next to 200. But is it going to general? I mean, it's going into a fund, but where does that fund get paid out to?
That I can't answer for you right now.
That's a good question.
Mr. Dishman, if I may, section 76.07 of the ordinance sets forth the fund. It says it shall be a non-reverting fund. And it will be used to facilitate the abandoned vehicle program, I believe.
Yes, I'm looking at it right now, if you'd like me to read it. It says that it is hereby established in the city that the abandoned vehicle fund pursuant to the abandoned vehicle fund shall be a revolving fund, and all monies paid to the city for the cost of removal, storage, and disposal of abandoned vehicles or parts shall be placed in the fund. The fund shall also have added to it monies as may be appropriated. So.
Any other questions? All righty. We have a motion to introduce.
Well, it's
Oh, okay. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say aye. Okay, thank you. Ordinance 25-24.
Ordinance 25-24, an ordinance of the city of Muncie annexing certain unimproved real property to the city of Muncie pursuant to the petition of the owners of the real property.
There a motion to introduce ordinance 25-24.
I so move.
For a second.
Second.
Is there anybody here to speak on this tonight?
Okay. Hello, my name is Kathy, and I'm from Ashton. My name is Kathy Van Ice, and I'm from Ashton Land Surveyor. And I do want to thank you guys for hearing, or thanking this board for hearing this need for this resolution or this ordinance. This property is on the northwest corner of the intersection of Bethel and Morrison. The half of the property right now is within the city of Muncie. It was annexed around the 2000 era, where they were trying to take the city limits north to take in Heron Point. And only half of these parcels were annexed. Now we have a parcel of land that I can't go forward with because half is in the county and half is in the city. The south half of the property is variety business. The north parcel is zone R5. The problem is to redivide or divide these properties in any way. I now don't have either the road frontage or the back piece on the northern becomes landlocked. So if I can't combine them, I need to be able to combine them into one big parcel. The north part will stay R5 as the ownership of Souders, and the south part will be Etchinson's property on there in the variety business. The whole goal is to make these so that they can stay in compliance, but also to be able to make them so that they're one unit in taxing purposes.
Do you know what the property is going to be used for, like a filling
Yes.
station or anything?
The property on the south, I believe they've got right now a pending for a convenience store. Now, the property on the south is still zoned R5, which means to be able to move forward, if they're going to do anything like a convenience store, I'd have to come back before a rezoning. So, but one step at a time, I've got to get them as one unit, and that's where I am tonight. The south part, they do have a pending offer that has already had one extension. And I did kind of send an email asking if you would be willing to entertain to try to bring it in one of your special meetings, because they have, the extension goes until the 1st of November, first week of November. And I have a little problem with, if we go for a second extension, the buyer is going to be out of the country. He's going to be leaving in the first week of November and will not be back until the end of January, which means the seller's probably not going to not going to agree to an extension. So I do have two parts to my request. Yes. I am asking first that we get it as one unit to be annexed. So.
Anybody from the county?
Combining the two, what is the size of an acreage? Is it
Right now, you have 2 acres that are in the city on the south part, and 2.1 acre or 2.12 acre on the west side. So I will be making it almost, 4 acres on that one. The one north of it is, I think, It's gonna be a 5 acres. It's no, it's still 2. 1.93 on the west, and I'm just showing a total of 4 acres on the to be combined. They have been deeded as straight parcels. The owners weren't even aware when I got a hold of them to say, we have a problem. Or half in the city and half in the county. So.
Anyone else? Anyone from the audience?
It's your turn, Ronnie.
I just want to know where they were.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Is she requesting that we suspend the rules and move it forward so that we can approve it tonight rather than just introduce it tonight? Am I correct in what you're asking?
I think Mr. Gibson has already told me I cannot ask for you to suspend and do it just tonight because your ordinance requires 14 days.
Okay.
So I was asking if you would suspend the rules and let me have on your special meeting 14 days later.
On the 16th?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Dishman, if I could clarify that, yeah, so it's actually the state annexation statute says you cannot adopt until at least 14 days has passed since the public hearing, which we held tonight.
Oh, okay.
So I think what you could do is put it on the agenda and obviously amend the notice. You could put it on the agenda for the special meeting on the 23rd and consider it along with the budget items.
Yeah, that clarifies it. Thank you,
Thank
Counselor.
you. I'm sorry I wasn't clear on that.
Well, the email
Yes.
suggested one thing.
I did.
Right.
And
Okay.
he corrected me today and I was like, okay, I didn't know that.
I didn't get that one. Oh, thank you.
I learned something every day.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye.
Do we need to, council, like do we need to do anything in order for this to be able to go on to the special meeting, or can we just list it there?
I mean, it would be up to President Dishman on whether or not he wanted to add that to the agenda of the special meeting.
Okay.
And then obviously we would need to amend the public notice to make it clear that will be considered along with the budget.
Okay.
But we don't need to decide that tonight. Is that correct?
That is
President
correct.
Dishman?
Okay.
Thank you.
Ordinance 25-24.
I think we're at 26. Yep. Yeah.
26.
26-24.
Ordinance 26-24, an ordinance of the city of Muncie establishing designated outdoor refreshment areas.
Do we have do I have a motion to introduce ordinance 26-24?
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Anyone here to speak on this tonight?
Age before beauty.
Good evening, Dan Ridenauer. Actually, I shared this idea in some meetings earlier this year with a couple council members. Actually, I shared it with all the council members, and a couple of them took it and ran with it. So this is a designated outdoor refreshment areas, and we're looking at doing 3 of them in the city. I just wanted to make sure someone got up and spoke about it, but it's coming from actually the council. They thought it was a great idea, and I did too. So I'm not the expert on it. I don't even drink, but I see that there could be some big advantages, and so we're doing 3 different areas. For those in the audience who don't know, one is in the downtown area. One is in the McKinley neighborhood, in and around a 2-block area by Elm Street, which will take in both of those Elm Street and another commercial building that's there, where there is not that type of beverage at this particular time. And then the other one is in the village, which the council and approved the village reconstruction. And it would be in that area. So we felt like this was 3 opportunities for our city to bring people here and make things fun. And so I appreciate Sarah and Roe in particular, but there were a lot of people on the council were interested in this. And so that's really all I have to say on it.
May I? Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, the mayor, I was in a conversation with the mayor one time and he brought this idea and I was this huge bulb. I was like, oh my gosh, I am all into this. So I spoke with the council and asked Ms. Scullion to join us in those meetings and co-sponsor it with me. Thank you for everything you've done with this. I'm going to ask Mr. Dan Gibson to talk because when he met with the mayor, I was not present and I'm not sure if you were present. So we'll have the city attorney talk about how that happened to make sure the correct areas downtown and the right businesses were contacted. Both Sarah, myself, and Dan had to contact some businesses downtown and in the village to see if they're interested, and the interest was huge. Dan and I, Mr. Gibson and I met with Ball State together, and then Ms. Scullion and myself met with Bill Lett for the McKinley at separate times. So Mr. Gibson, could you give us a summary, please, and just kind of describe how this came along?
Yeah, so a designated outdoor refreshment area is essentially a zone where patrons can leave one establishment and have an open container of alcohol and walk within the district to another establishment or just stay within that area. There are 3, as the mayor said, the village, downtown, and the area around Elm Street. This ordinance includes maps that show the exact boundaries of all these areas. Establishments within the designated outdoor refreshment areas, if this is adopted, will then need to apply to be a part of the program with the Board of Public Works. In addition, there will be some signage and some other requirements that are set forth in the ordinance. But as Councilwoman Selvey mentioned, I met with the mayor and the city attorney. There were discussions with Ball State, and everybody kind of worked together to put together these boundaries and put this ordinance together. If it is introduced and then ultimately adopted, it will then go to the State Alcohol and Tobacco Commission for final approval. And if approved there, the mayor has stated that the Board of Public Works and the administration will work together to get the remaining details of the program put together.
Thank you, Dan.
Pardon me.
Anybody else? want to-
Yes, I just like some clarification from any of the participants, just to understand what the village and the McKinley one are divided into big squares, but the downtown one is divided into 2 pieces. Is there any reason for that?
Well, I believe they're contiguous, but they are it's just trying to get all the businesses who are possible and who have shown interests to be able to be
Into
within it.
one.
Each municipality can have 7 of these, so we wanted to try to use, in case
Sure.
Growth, who knows, we might need more.
Sure.
So.
And I would like to, we did not have a chance to speak with all of the businesses. And just because your business is not listed and we hadn't had the chance for the sake of time, you can always show interest and be part of it. So just because your business was not contacted does not mean you cannot be part of it. You just have to show interest. And Mr. Gibson, I believe they go to the Board of Works, correct?
Yep.
To
That's
apply.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to kind of clarify why that is, the state statute that allows you to put these DORAs, as they're called, in place, requires you to list all of the establishments who will be eligible.
Mhm.
Obviously, at this point, it's only those establishments within each district that serve alcoholic beverages that would be eligible. But the ordinance also makes it clear that any new establishments that come along will also be able to apply and get the permit, and it is through the Board of Works.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson.
Anyone else from the council? Mr. Barber, you got the floor.
Audie Barber, I guess the first question that'll be asked by the Board of Work is there alcohol involved? So yes, there is. I would like to see the wording changed from refreshments, because refreshments are more to, it's not alcohol. Refreshments aren't alcohol. I would like to see that word refreshment rechanged with adult beverage, something of that nature.
May I listen? I do believe that's a state acronyms. It's not just particular for Muncie. Yeah.
Because
That's
I know
correct.
Beach,
That comes from the state and the state statute.
State statute.
okay,
also.
because I know Beach Grove or somebody just introduced this to, and I don't think they use refreshments. But,
It's a state thing, Mr. Barber.
or maybe refreshments of adult beverages or something like that. I mean, that just doesn't let people really know. No problem.
Just go on.
But anyhow, and I would just like to know that the businesses that's involved with this will hire the bouncers or people to police this, so our police departments ain't out there having to control this, because that's another big cost to the city, that if they open these areas up and these people's going in and out of these areas, nobody's out there watching them. How can they keep them from bringing alcohol in? So that's just what I'm.
Mr. With Ball State, with the meeting, may I, to answer one of the questions that Mr. Gibson and I, we made sure that their police department, on campus is able to handle it. And their answer was, we police that area anyway, so it's not like.
I understand
it's not-
that, but the city of Muncie,
Yeah, and the mayor, yes.
I mean, because we're going to have downtown, that means we're going to have more police officers downtown in that area.
And Mr. Gibson met with the mayor so Mr. Gibson, can you answer that? I was not in that meeting to answer. Regarding if we need extra police officers during those events, and can the city handle it?
Yeah, I mean, I would defer to the mayor on that, but we did discuss it, and it was my understanding he was going to speak with the police department. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I don't believe there was a major concern there.
Thank you.
I will answer that question. Can I answer Councilperson Basham's question first? He talked about the district not a perfect square.
Or
So
it's a different configuration.
It is.
than
It
the
is. So
others.
the
It
part
looks like
on
two
the
pieces.
part on the south end is the former YMCA. And we've had negotiations, and there's every intent of there being a restaurant in that building. So the restaurant, if it comes, is not on there. We'll still have to apply, but this way it's inside the district. The same thing, the building that's right next to, the area that's right next to City Hall is the vacant lot that is part of the Ready 2.0 funding. And there is already a restaurant signed to come into that if we get the Ready funds.
Thank you.
And that will be part of their, so that way they're already in the district. They will still have to apply and follow those normal channels.
I knew there was a reason.
Yep, that's why those are pulled out just a little bit.
Okay, so those aren't part of the 7.
Yes, the
Yes.
three,
They're missing.
3 out of
Okay,
7.
this is the two.
This way, we're just doing 3.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is
They're
1, 2, 3.
joined.
They're
So
joined
they're-
because they're attached. So that's why we did it. And then for your other question, yeah, the police did not feel like there would be any issue at all. They already feel like they do good monitoring, especially in the downtown area. And this does go right around, does not include, but right around City Hall. And they didn't feel like this would be an issue.
Thank you, Mayor.
So they're saying that there's no possibility of hiring any more police? They feel like with the workforce they have now, they can handle it? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's what they said.
Thank you. That's what I want to know. So
Anyone
what
else from
would,
the audience?
What would qualify an area to be designated a door?
That's
You-
something.
Actually, I think we could assign one, but you would want to pick ones that already have at least someone who is, and maybe more than one, that's serving alcohol beverages.
Okay,
So you don't want to necessarily just pick a neighborhood, but
Well, not a
but if
neighborhood,
there's
but I'm
one,
just saying, if you having say an outdoor event somewhere, would it be possible to get door designation for just a period of time?
I don't believe that's the purpose of it. It's to create energy in certain areas. And we have 4 more areas where we can consider down the road. So as maybe we get some growth in some other areas, we can look at other areas.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Yes.
And doesn't it seem that it's more event or festival related?
Correct. It is.
Those 3 DORAs are in areas where there are currently festivals, or we anticipate, as in the village, there will be those kinds of events that will encompass that area, those
Yes.
areas.
Yes.
Okay.
I have one more thing. Actually, Ball State was really, Mr. Gibson, you can elaborate too. They were thrilled and they were very grateful that we included them in there because with their amphitheater and the new hotel and the
Yep.
new restaurant, they were very, very grateful. Mr. Gibson, would you like to add to that? You were there too.
Yeah, nothing really beyond that. They were very excited,
thrilled.
thought this could really bring some new energy down to the village.
Okay.
Anyone else like to talk from the council?
You have a lady out there to speak.
Hi, Holly Ipe. Let's see, questions. I have heard several times that you've talked to a lot of businesses about how they feel about DORAs. I'm thinking particularly of the McKinley neighborhood. I think there's kind of an expectation, while I understand folks live in the Ball State Village and folks live downtown. I feel like that McKinley neighborhood is very much a residential neighborhood as opposed to a commercial neighborhood that people live in. And so I'm curious, have you also spoke to the people that live in the neighborhoods as well as the businesses? And I want to be real clear. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I don't live in McKinley, so I can't speak for them. I'd love to see this downtown, but curious.
I'd like most of the areas and the houses, Miss Yipe, are owned by a certain, person who owns those properties too. So no, we did not talk to but we made sure that we, did you see the map on there? May I show you the map?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, so we kind of really narrowed it down, whereas there's a couple houses, but there's not that much. So the people who are consuming those beverages, they can only go within these quarters. That beverage cannot leave those streets, and there'll be signs and.
And we
Right,
did
but
actually-
how do people leave? So when I think about if they put a DORA in the middle of my neighborhood, even if there was empty space where there was a restaurant or a bar that was selling adult beverages, and we are attracting more people to that local bar, even if it was a block or 2 away from my house, I might be interested and have some feedback on what's happening a block or 2 away from me in a mostly residential area.
Yeah, I can understand that. We tried to keep these really tight, all of these.
Okay.
And that's actually why we have a third, rather than there was some talk about maybe adding it to downtown, but we were concerned about that also. And so we wanted to make sure that we were trying to keep things, but no, we haven't spoken with anyone either.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That helps me understand though too, because it's hard sometimes to look through all the documents as a city person. That's why I come to the meeting.
Sure.
And so I appreciate you showing me the map and explaining your thought process. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sayers.
President Dishman, can I speak for a moment? Sure. I have some concerns. I may be the only one that has concerns about this. I wonder about the economic impact that it will have up on the downtown of Muncie. And you may ask, well, why would I be concerned about that? They're going to bring alcohol in. You're going to have people drunk all over the streets. It starts at 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. each day. That allows people to walk out from the businesses where they've kept the alcohol inside. Now they're going to be out on the streets, walking around at all times. I've talked with one business owner. I've talked to Ball State student concerning this. Ball State student told me they will absolutely love to come downtown because they can drink and run all over the place and do whatever they want in the evenings. And they would have my understanding would be the legal ability to be outside drinking like they would inside of a bar, where the police couldn't do anything to them because they have that open, being a DORA. And I wonder what that will do to the impact of families coming to downtown. We have different events that we have downtown that were family friendly. We do this. I think it will have an adverse effect upon the city downtown on some of those events. Parents won't want to bring their children in and introduce them to a bunch of drunk people, because we know that people are not just going to come and just drink a little. They're going to be in an excess. Most of the time it happens that way. I'm concerned about that. And I'm wondering, are we tying the hands of the police department as far as safety? Are they going to be able to be everywhere at all times to make sure that men are behaving themselves, young women that come from the campus down here are not in jeopardy? There's all sorts of things that happen when we open a can of worms like this. But that's my opinion, okay? I'm concerned about this. And I wonder if we really thought this completely through. It's one thing to have the businesses, and I'm not saying take away their permits from them to have their bars and drink inside, but when we open it up, and some of them have the outside patio areas where they sit and they drink, but to open it up to walk all over the public streets from noon to midnight, I have concern about that. And I don't know if anybody else out there is going to agree with me. I may be by myself, but I wanted to share that. I would like to get our police chief's opinion, and I would like the opinion of the Ball State Police Chief, not just officers, but I would like to have a one-on-one conversation with them to see how they feel about this. But those are my concerns, and I just wanted to share my opinion.
Mr. Dishman, may I respond to him? Okay, so when we met with Ball State, the Ball State officials have already talked to their police chief, everything. We had legal. I had my legal with me. They had their legal. They were ready. Mr. Gibson, if you can affirm what I'm saying. So they have already spoken to their police, and that's all figured out. And I trust the mayor has talked with the, the police here, and if they say that they can handle it. And then I'll be honest with you, Mr. Green, you said that they're going to be running around all over downtown. That is not true. Look at the maps. There will be signs there at certain corners. The police know where they are. The alcoholic beverages will not be in it's going to be in a see-through container with a specific sticker. So you cannot just take any can of beer and walk around downtown. It has to be see-through, and the stickers on those alcoholic beverages will be a communication between the city and downtown community members, figure out what the stickers will look like. So when we say they're going to be all over downtown, walking all over the city, that's not true. There will be signage around the area, to limit. And if you look in your packet, it'll tell you how many signs and exactly at what corner, intersection wise, or, for example, intersection of Columbus Avenue and Jefferson, intersection of Columbus Avenue and Elm Street. So there will be those signs. So that's my response. I'm sorry, respectfully.
Mayor, can you come up here a second and talk about this?
Well, because they'll
be able to walk anywhere in the shaded area.
I kind of agree with Mr. Green down there. You know, we do have a lot of alcoholism problems in this town and we're trying to promote more of it. And I've got a problem with it. Now, does these people have to get a license to sell this
They
beer?
do. Yeah. That's
I mean,
part
it's
of,
not, it's
part of
not
the
extending
process.
from another bar. They have to get an actual
Yeah, you
license.
can't bring anything from outside the
Yes,
district in.
you can't.
So they're not going to bring, they have to have their own license to sell it.
Yes, correct. Correct. Nothing can come from outside the district end.
Yeah,
And
Mr. Dishman, if I may, from a legal perspective, the only thing that is changing is that they will be able to have an open container of alcohol in a designated cup when they leave one permitted property and, can walk then to another permitted property within the DORA. All other laws and rules that govern the conduct of individuals downtown will still be in place. The only thing they'll be able to walk from one establishment to another with an open container.
Mr. Gibson, do you know if we got an open container law in this town?
That is governed by the state, and that is what this does, is this exempts that in these specified areas.
All right, I don't
And
want,
you will need the only people that will be able to sell the beverages are those that are already able to sell the beverages by having state permits.
anyway, thank you, Dan. That's all
I asked you earlier about I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
okay.
I asked you earlier about if there's a possibility of hiring more police officers or what have you. The thing I have a problem with is that even if they go by all the rules, got the container, you can see it and all of that, the consumption itself can bring on extra other things, fights, arguments, what have you. So my thing is, I'm having a hard time seeing a lot of the cops, or I'm sorry, officers around town, let alone going to be designated to drive, to guard these places. And I understand what this is about as far as the money part of it, economics or what have you. But I just feel like it's a great opportunity also to add to the police force.
yeah, I would, and I appreciate your comments greatly. And I understand all the concerns. I would only be at risk if you couldn't carry open containers of coffee around. Because I just don't, I don't even drink, but I do drink coffee, lots of coffee. But I would just remind you that this is an introduction.
Yeah.
And I think I will do my best with the assistance of the two council members that brought this forward to maybe we can have the police chief from Yorktown here at the next meeting and the police chief from Muncie at the next meeting. You can ask them.
Oh, Yorktown.
Well, you're right. University police.
But
Yorktown already approved
one,
one.
yeah. Right.
Yorktown already approved one. But we can have the appropriate police chiefs here to answer those questions. And because this is not final adoption, we do not want in any way, shape or form for there to be any suspension of the rules. I'd love to see this introduced and we can get those answers next time would be my goal.
Mayors, is this just for people that's over 21?
Yeah.
I mean, if they bring their kids there, they can't go in this area, these kids?
Mr. President, may I make a comment?
Well, let me ask the mayor, then I'll let you.
Okay, thank
Can
you.
tell me this?
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that. I don't know.
Because, people bring their kids into downtown.
I think all the applicable rules still apply. So if somebody is drunk, even if they have the container, they are not free from prosecution. They can still be arrested. So I think all those things still apply.
But I just hate somebody bringing a child into the drinking part of it. But anyway, let's move on. Ms. Powell, go ahead.
I just wanted to make a comment. I attended an event in Cincinnati for a Reds game, and there is a door around the stadium, the ballpark, and there were kids there. There was face painting. It was a family atmosphere. Law enforcement was there. All laws that are normally applicable to drunken disorderly or underage drinking were still enforced. But it wasn't necessarily a 21 and over event at that point in time. There were but I'm not sure. And maybe Mr. Gibson can clarify if it would be a 21 and over, because it could have been outside, but there were children near the area. Yeah, this isn't a special event type thing. I mean, this is just, this will be the rules moving forward, and it simply means that you can leave, let's say, Casa del Sol with an open beer in one of the designated cups and walk down the street to Lahode and not be breaking any rules for simply having an open container. All other rules that govern the age of drinking, your conduct while drinking will still be in place and can be enforced by the police.
Anyone else got a question for the mayor? Thank you, Dan. Mr. Barber?
Audie Barber, one more time, just to be clear. This can pass by the council, but it still has to go to the tobacco and alcohol
Yes.
before approval, correct? Because I know when I had a liquor license, we could only, if we had an outside area, we had to designate it for a certain amount of time in order to get a permit. That would be something like you was talking about, Mr. Mason. But once this is passed by council, it has to go to the alcohol board before it's passed, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
The state commission.
Hi, Holly Yip back again. I just want to say that I really enjoy going to local events where they have alcohol vendors that have permits, things like Fire Up Downtown, a lot of the big festivals, the Washington Street Festival, they all have permits and you can carry an open container within the confines of those events. And there's families and kids and everybody has a good time, and it doesn't seem like there's really a big problem. So as a community member, and I can speak on being a member of the community, I really enjoy having that convenience. And it is something that I bring my kids to and feel totally fine about.
Anyone else? All in favor of introducing this, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Put me down for opposed on that, would you please? Okay. Moving into resolutions 10-24.
Resolution 10-24, a resolution of the City of Muncie adopting the fiscal plan for the voluntary annexation of certain property known as the voluntary Etchison/Souders annexation.
Is there a motion to introduce resolution 10-24?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second.
This would be, I'm sorry to interrupt, but this would be for adoption as a resolution.
Can we just say that it's for adoption?
So moved.
We have a second. Okay. Anyone wishing to speak on resolution 10-24? Any from the council? Oh, Mayor.
Good evening, Mayor Ridenhour. Just wanted to speak on this. This is for the voluntary annexation. I did not prepare the fiscal plan that was provided, but I did review it and it all seemed in order to me. And it's a necessary component of this annexation.
Thank you.
Is anyone wishing to speak on this? No.
Mr. Dishman, if I could just briefly explain what the fiscal plan is.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
All right, thank you. As the mayor mentioned, this is a required component of any annexation. And it was prepared by a financial analyst or financial consultant for the city. And it essentially just sets forth the plan for extending services to the annexed area by the city, how much it's going to cost, that type of thing. And it also shows the revenue that'll be generated by the taxes. As the fiscal plan says, there is no cost right now to the city to extend services. And I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but there is going to obviously be some sort of increase in revenue from taxes.
Okay. Ms. Powell, do you have any problems with this being introduced since our budget's in process?
Mr. Gibson, if you could clarify, I don't think that this fiscal plan would affect the Muncie Civil City budget process, would it?
No, it would not. The fiscal plan says it's a 4-acre area directly adjacent to the current city limits. And so there would be no additional cost to the city as set forth in that plan, annexing this 4 acres of currently unimproved property.
Okay, thank you. Anyone from the council? Anyone from the audience? Roll call, please.
Ms. Powell?
Yes.
Ms. Selby?
Yes.
Mr. Basham?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Ms. Gillian?
Yes.
President Dishman?
Yes.
8 yes.
Resolution 1124.
Resolution 11-24, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Muncie ratifying and approving a bot agreement and related transaction documents to permit the commencement of construction of a replacement fire station.
Do I have a motion for introduction of resolution?
So moved.
1124 and a second?
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. We have anybody here tonight talk on this?
Mr. President, this is an adoption, not an introduction, right? Okay, good.
Good evening, Council. My name is Greg Martz. I'm with GM Development, and thank you for having me again this evening. I'm coming with good news, which is that this summer we were able to finish our design processes for the Station 6 fire station. Tonight, we're almost exactly 3.5 years from the time when we first started talking about this. I know I've been in front of you several times. The reason we're in front of you again tonight is because in your January council meeting, there was a resolution adopted when you approved the project back then that said when we complete design, that would allow us to complete the contract documents, and that we'd essentially come before you just to signal that that process is done and that we're ready to start construction. And so hopefully this will all come as good news for you all. I know you've all been very supportive in the past, which I'm very thankful for. The other one note I did have was to say a special thanks to the fire department. As you can imagine, when you're designing a project, there is quite a bit of communication going back and forth. They have been almost immediately responding every single time we've had a question or an email, and it's been a very pleasant experience with them. So I want to say a special thank you to them. And if you do authorize moving forward with the contract tonight, then our plan is to get going with construction even yet this month. And that's all I have prepared for you, but I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Yes. Do you, like we talked the last time, do you still planning on using local labor here?
Yes, we have about 157 subcontractors on the bid list. If there's anyone else you would like us to include, or if there's anyone you just want to make sure is on that list, obviously, please feel free to reach out to me. The Lyona guys have been very helpful. They've given us their entire list, and that is part of that 157. So yes, sir. I remember that, and that is that's how we've put the subcontractor list together.
Okay, thank you. Anyone from the
Okay, could you share that list with us, please? Send it
Yes.
to all.
Oh yeah, I'd be
Okay.
happy to do that.
Just so that way we're not bombarding you. So if a business,
That's a
we
good
already
idea.
know. Okay.
Yep,
Thank you.
great idea.
Yeah, I had noticed that too, reading through it, that there wasn't really any language in there, like talking about trying, and I mean, having any teeth. I mean, it's nice that we have that list and that you're, looking into it, but I'm just wondering if there's any way to get something into the agreement that gives it a little more teeth, saying, somehow, that I would like to see something like that, that says we are trying to use, I don't know exactly what that is at this point. I haven't put an amendment together honestly yet. But I'd like to see something that where we're giving, first choice even. I mean, I understand that we're not always going to find everything you need locally or union, but I would like to try a little more.
Yep.
Go ahead, Dan. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, I don't think he was talking.
Somebody chimed in there.
He was trying to.
Okay. Anyone else from the?
Greg, with the
Yes, sir.
with the relocation of the station, are there any cost changes at all?
No, that is a really good question, though. One thing that's happened since the last time I was in front of you was that the current Station 6 flooded again. That happened shortly after we had the last resolution passed that I was here. And so that kind of opened our eyes to, do we want to construct the station in the same spot? And one of the sites that we had been looking at from the beginning was at Highland. It's still in McCullough Park, but about, I'd say, a quarter of a mile, what would that be, south? And that gets us away from the flood zone. There's actually even a floodway at the existing site in addition to the flood zone. And so we did an analysis in that month thereafter, and we found that it was almost equal. So there were some savings that we got from not having to bring in as much dirt because the prior site was in the flood zone. That was pretty much exactly offset by the sanitary sewer line is on the other side of the road there. So we had to, we're going to have to directional drill to get there, but the costs were almost the exact same. So it worked out really nice that we're in a better spot, and we're not anticipating any additional costs.
Okay, and you have talked with the fire department, there wouldn't be any impact on response times or anything of that nature?
Yes, sir. In fact, it was quite the opposite. The chief said that it even helped the response times towards the closest neighborhood. So yeah, that was another good question and something we did look into.
Could you be more specific about, if this resolution is adopted, how soon can you start construction?
We would start definitely by the end of the month. I think that we could actually start putting things like the trailer and those sorts of things out yet this week. And we would anticipate starting construction as soon as we can thereafter. I'm not in a position right now to sign any contracts just because I don't have a signed contract, of course. So we need to do that. But I would think that we could mobilize essentially immediately and probably start construction, I'd say, in about 2 weeks. Let's say something like that.
Okay.
That is one reason, though, that when you're talking about the language that kind of adds the teeth, what I was thinking when you were asking that question is how about, if you're okay with this, is I share that list and then see what your reaction is to it. And if you feel like everybody is included that would be included, then maybe we're okay. But if you don't, or if you need more language, I guess I'm perfectly fine with that. But the only thing that worries me is if they pushes
time.
us into
I
November.
understand
Yep,
the
that's
timing, and I know
only thing.
everybody,
Yep.
we're all like, but we do have a special meeting coming up at the end of the month. So that's why I kind of thought maybe, because this is something actually that this is, up for vote right now for adoption. So, I mean, I would personally, like to amend it so that we can look into that language or however we need to do that. I mean, that would be what I would want to do, would want to say is, when we could look at this, see if we can kind of come up with some language where it would just be like I say, first pass, first choice, whatever that is, and then be able to still keep it on track. And, because we could add it to the budget hearing. I mean, that's I guess, I don't know, Dan Gibson, how is that a possibility to be able to even do?
To be able to make an amendment.
I guess
to
the
this?
amendment to the resolution, is that how that would have to be handled, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could either have it in the contract or just make the approval of the agreement contingent upon certain language being added. And that could just simply be contingent upon an inclusion of language placing a priority on the use of local labor.
So you would assure us of that language and we could go ahead and pass this resolution tonight? Is that what you're saying, Counselor?
Yeah, I mean, you could make an amendment to the resolution saying your approval of the agreement is contingent or requires the inclusion of such language in the agreement. And I don't know exactly what language you're looking for, but during that discussion, something that popped into my mind immediately was just language that makes the use of local labor a priority in the bidding process.
Could I follow up on that, President Dishman?
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second, correct?
Mhm.
To pass this resolution as written. What is your recommendation right now?
He doesn't know you're talking to him.
Okay,
Oh my
that's to you,
gosh.
Dan. Oh, we've lost
I
contact.
apologize. Yeah. I apologize. That's, that, yeah. Do we?
Could I make a suggestion that maybe, maybe the language might, oh, I'm sorry.
We don't have
I'm really
counsel
sorry.
with us right now.
Oh, so I can't talk,
Um,
okay.
Well, we have a question on the table.
I call question.
But we don't have counsel right now. I'm not sure what that
Okay.
means, so. Can you, can you text? I apologize.
Okay.
Can you text Dan that you need the link and have him send the link to you, the Zoom link, so we can get reconnected.
Do you want me? Okay. You want, okay. You want me to take?
Hey, Jerry.
Yeah. Sarah, Sarah's got a question for you.
And then can someone else call Nora?
Get somebody else.
You want to ask Dan that question? Dale, what's your question, Dale?
No, I don't have a question. I think we have a motion and a second, and we've had a call for the question.
Mhm.
With counsel or not, the question has been called and we need to take a vote.
Can you hear?
I can, thank you.
Can we amend this later on, Dan?
You could amend it later on, yes, but if the question's been called on the motion to adopt, then you need to move forward with that. And I don't,
I called the question.
I didn't hear what happened. The Zoom I was on, I believe we lost connection. I don't know, but
I did call the question.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll keep you on the line. We'll go ahead and, yeah, hang on. Go ahead, Mr. Barber.
This is a very important decision tonight you guys are making because we're going to spend a bunch of money and we still don't know a price tag on this. When we passed this in January, February, or March, whenever it was, you all said that the money would be appropriated through the council. They're bringing this up as a resolution tonight to start spending the money without telling you guys exactly how much it's going to cost. Skipping the process of the ordinances to get approval by the council to spend $8.9 million or whatever it was. We don't have a price on this yet, folks. You guys agreed at the meeting that you would approve the budget on this. And by putting this as a resolution and sending it out as a bot saying, go for it, build it. You have not put no money value on this other than the, what was it, 8.9 million or 8.4 million or whatever it was. So remember when we discussed this in January, February, you guys said you would come back, and now we're here at this point. Now we're ready to spend $8.5 million, $9 million on a fire station. So think about that when you guys vote tonight, please, because y'all set up there and said that you would come back with the numbers and that you guys would approve the numbers before allowing this to be built under the bot. Thank you.
Christopher Bilbrey. I want you guys, the 8 of you, I think if Nora's back on the phone, the 8 of you that are here that are going to be voting on this tonight, I want you to really consider what's going on, because you guys have been discussing this. And then in the middle of discussing this, a couple counselors have had a couple different thoughts. And then in the middle of trying to get that, we had the phone go down. So legal counsel wasn't there to ask the question of. And then during that process, it seems like we've got a couple counselors that's like, well, let's do it. Let's do it now. We got to do it now. Let's do it now. Okay. So I want to make sure that you guys are aware that if they're going to force you into voting on this, if you're going to be forced to vote on this motion, you can vote no. And then one of you, Counselor Gullion, can then make another motion with what your amendment is. And then one of you can second it, and then you can do it the right way. You don't have to force it down people's throats. It doesn't have to be done in this, well, we got to hurry and do this. We got to hurry and do this. My question is, last council meeting, it was either the September meeting or the August meeting. Towards the end of the meeting, Counselor Gullion, am I saying that right, Gullion? Yeah, I think that is. Counselor Gullion looked to ask a question about the bot and ask if someone from the administration was here. And it was towards the end of the meeting, so no one from the administration was here. And you had a question at that point. My question to you personally is, whatever your question was that time, whether that was in August or September, has that question been answered to your satisfaction by this time tonight? Have you got whatever paperwork you were looking for or whatever answer? And if you have, is it okay? Is it not okay? And, you know, you really need to vote off that. And the rest of you sitting up there, you need to understand that. You don't have to vote yes just because the question's been called. You can vote no and then immediately make another motion to do it with that wording in there. Let's get it right rather than vote on it and say, we'll fix it later. Because I promise you, if we do that, we're not going to ever fix it later. We might as well do it right and be done with it.
Mr. President, let the record show that I agree 100% with what you just said. Let's vote. And if we desire to make the amendment, then we restate the new resolution with said amendment, and then we can vote.
Sure. Yep.
Well stated, Mr. Bilbrey.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Basham.
Let's have an open container outside.
Let's call the question.
The question is on the table, so. Okay.
Jason
Hold on,
Chafin.
hold on.
I just wanted to say real quick, thanks for all you guys' work on this over the last years, and we're looking forward to not shoveling water out of our basement and which is our kitchen. So, thanks, guys.
Mr. Dishman, Ms. Powell, what? Ms. Powell would like to say something.
I just would like clarification because my line went down, and so when the communication went out, Councilperson Gullion was talking about making an amendment. There was some discussion, and then I lost the meeting. What question has been called? What has question been called for? An amendment or to adopt as presented?
Adopt as presented.
Okay.
But we can go back and amend it after we.
Anyone else?
I can't really hear what's going on.
Anyone else wishing to talk?
I'm sorry. You're not here. You're right.
Anybody from the audience? Any more from the council?
I just had one more clarification. Yeah, the appropriation by ordinance was passed in May. So we're not trying to slide a resolution in. We passed it. We did it. I mean, we've all been here. This is just a resolution because of the way the ordinance was passed, where Mr. Morris would come back and say, here is the specs, here is the details, and you guys have all that now. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, it was for the bot agreement, and that's what it is. It's the resolution has the bot agreement. So it is what this is, like the correct next step for this. So.
Anyone else? Anyone from the council? Roll call, please.
Ms. Powell?
Yes.
Ms. Selby?
Yes.
Mr. Basham?
No.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh?
No.
Mr. Green?
No.
Ms. Gillian?
No.
President Dishman?
Yes.
4 yeses, 4 noes. Raymond's absent at the time.
We vote again.
Councilor
Mr.
Gibson.
Well, I didn't hear the vote.
4-4, wasn't there only
So
8 of us?
It's no action. You can, if somebody wants to make another motion.
Mr. President, could you help someone on this table with this new wording that would include, shall we say, someone could possibly motion to pass the current resolution with a list to be provided by our council with whom we have full confidence to represent our council as you have heard us speak.
Hello?
Are you there, Counselor?
Yes, I'm here. And so I think the amendment would be the approval of the bot agreement is subject to the inclusion of language in the contract that places a priority on the use of local labor.
I so move.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Are you laughing?
Ms. Selby?
Second.
Yes.
Ms. Powell?
I'm terribly sorry, but I don't know what we're voting on because Rose Selby spoke, she dropped my call. So can I have clarification on what we're voting on at this point?
The amended.
The amended version to put.
Yes, I vote yes on the amendment. Yes.
Sorry.
Ro, can you make it so I can hear what's being said? Can you push your phone out a little?
Yes.
She said yes.
Ms. McIntosh?
She said yes. Oh, you asking me? Yes.
Mr. Basham?
Yes.
Ms. Gillian?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
President Dishman?
Yes.
All right.
Y'all gotta be here from now on.
Okay, moving on to resolution 12-24.
Oh, wait, no, we just
Oh, we
amended
got
it.
amended. Okay.
We just amended it.
No, that was the amendment. That was the resolution as
With-
amended.
With amended.
Right. Yes.
Roll call to adopt.
Roll call to adopt.
It's done.
We just did it.
Thank you.
Ready?
Just the last resolution now.
Okay, resolution 12-24.
Resolution 12-24, Appropriations Reduction Resolution, General Fund.
Is there a motion to adopt resolution 12-24?
Motion.
Second.
There's a second. Is there anyone wishing to speak on resolution 12-24?
Good evening. This is a resolution for the DLGF, just to reduce the reductions on the general fund and out of line number 10120413025. And this is something that seems like we do every year. Last year was the SEG. So it's just reducing the appropriations for this year.
Anyone from the council wishing to speak on this? Anyone from the audience wishing to speak on this?
Mr. Dishman, if I could just chime in very quickly.
Okay,
Yeah, so earlier when I was talking about what Ms. Powell was able to participate in remotely, I misspoke when I said she was unable to participate in appropriations. The law does allow her to make votes and discussions regarding appropriations. It was the budget that she was unable to participate in. And so I just want to make sure that was clear for everybody that was there.
okay, thank you. Thanks, Stan. Anyone else?
I think we've lost another one.
I'm trying, okay? That is not my communication.
Hang on just a minute, Greg. I gotta get her back.
Okay, you're back on, sorry.
Uh-oh, she's gone again.
I'm not dropping the phone calls. I just-
Can someone else call her?
Yeah, can somebody else? You go. Just a minute.
Oh, just a minute. She's just tried to call and I missed it. Here we go.
Hello.
Councilperson Powell, you're on.
Thank you.
Where we at?
Do we have any discussion from the council for Mr. Wright? Anybody from the audience?
You might repeat it.
What are we discussing?
The appropriations reduction resolution? The last resolution.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Mr. President, I have a question when it's appropriate.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. And this may have been discussed previously in the last 5 minutes. Why are you reducing the appropriations?
Why are we doing, it's for the DLGF for this year. So it's in the process of getting the budget ready for next year. So, and DLGF is determined that we just need to reduce the appropriations for this year's budget. So we're not going to spend the money.
Okay, because I've never heard of a department, especially public safety, asking to have their current appropriations reduced. Police and fire, especially, we want to be really careful about defunding them. Their overtime line item is 93 expended as of October the 3rd. And this being removed from health insurance could be used for overtime between now and the end of the year. So I would just, I'm not quite certain the rationale behind this. If it is not used by the end of the year, then it is surrendered to the general fund and regardless. So I don't know why this is necessary. And I don't know that it is prudent considering their overtime line item is 93% expended as of October the 3rd. Thank you.
And I did review that with Deputy Deegan today, and he was good with it. So, and this was from the DLGF. So that's.
Anyone else from the council?
Mr. President, I have one other question. Do we need to amend this to make it, and that might be a question for Counselor, our council. In section 1, third row, third line, it says the 21 is titled Police Department. And that's 21, Department 21 is actually the fire department. I don't know if because it's after the therefore, whereas 2, it's in the operative language. Does that need to be amended to reflect the appropriate department?
Oh, I see on the line there, that should be 20. But down at the bottom with the fund department and the amount, it does state to 20. So, and I see where you got that at. So,
Mr. Gibson, do we need to amend that to reflect 20 in the operative language of section 1?
Yes, I think you should make that amendment.
Okay, so I make a motion to amend section 1 of resolution 12-24 to reflect, to change 21 to 20. So it's the appropriate department.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion to amend and a
Second.
second. Roll call, please.
Selby,
Yes.
Ms. Powell,
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mr. Basham,
Yes.
Ms. Nolan,
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
President Dishman.
Yes.
8 yes.
Okay.
Anyone else want to speak on this tonight? From the council or the audience? Okay.
You'll need an emotion to adopt as amended.
Yeah, we need a motion to adopt
So move.
As amended.
as amended in second.
Second.
Oh, I'm not making that motion. I'm just saying we'll need an emotion.
It's been made and seconded.
Yeah, it made sense.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Mason,
Yes.
Ms. Nolan,
Yes.
Mr. Basham.
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh,
Yes.
Which one?
Mayor's absent, Ms. Selby,
Yes.
Ms. Powell,
No.
President Dishman.
Yes.
7 yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I thought you would.
Shouldn't we have done the same thing with resolution 11 and 24?
Dan, should we have done the same thing with 1124?
Did you not adopt after the amendment?
Did the record show?
yes,
Did we?
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. We,
did.
yes, we voted on the amended.
Yeah, we voted on it.
Yeah.
There's this question from Mr. Mason. Okay, roll call on the adoption.
I
We
think
just
did
did.
that.
Okay. Okay. Going on the table, ordinance 1224, staying on the table. Okay. Other business, I didn't get a chance to bring it up at the first of our meeting. This is October Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I asked our council to wear pink to support breast cancer for men and women. And if you know anybody that has breast cancer, appreciate you give them a call and give them a little uplifting. They probably need it. And we'll go into, I don't think we have any other business. We'll go into audience comments.
Okay, we have, is it? Is it your writing? It doesn't look like I should be used to it, but yeah, okay, Addie Barber.
Good evening, council. We're at the closing arguments, I guess. And the closing arguments have gone. Anyhow, the only thing I can say is we need to support our Ask Me Local. Nothing's been brought up tonight about it. Another council meeting, it's been 10, 12, 13, 18 months, something like that. We need to support these people. You guys continue to allow the mayor to spend the money he wants and gives him everything that he wants, but he will not give these people what they want. And I need you guys to be a voice. I need the council to be a voice for Ask Me. And stop giving this mayor what he wants until he gets this taken care of. This is a big issue. I'm begging you. These folks are begging you. They've been here 9 or 10 months or 11 or 12 months now. They quit coming because you guys are turning a closed eye to them. You're turning your backs on these people. You're not getting nothing done for them. You are their elected officials to hold the administration accountable for what's going on here. If this was the police department, if this was the fire department, every last one of you guys would be stopping payment on everything, would not give this mayor anything until these contracts were ratified. Please, I'm begging you. These folks are begging you. They begged you so much, one person here tonight, because they aren't getting anything from you folks. Please, for their sake, if you've ever been in the union or if you've ever been part of it, you know what it's about. Get these people their contract. That's all I'm asking. Put a stop to public business until they get their contract. Like I said, if it was the police or fire department, it would be different. No, it wouldn't. It's still a contract. You know, you enjoy the streets you ride on. You enjoy calling these folks in the middle of the night when you got potholes and all this stuff. Get them their contract, please. Thank you.
Christopher Bilbrey. No, okay.
Need a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
You know,